Hello, I'm Donna Lowry, host of Lawmakers on Georgia Public Broadcasting. Welcome to the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk Young debate series from the studios of Georgia Public Broadcasting. This is the Republican runoff debate for Congressional District 2. Now let's meet the candidates. They are in alphabetical order. Chuck Hand is a construction superintendent and vice chair of Taylor County's Republican Party. And Wayne Johnson was a senior official in the Trump administration and worked in finance for 30 years. Now let's meet the panelists. Jill Nolin is the deputy editor for Georgia Recorder, and Doug Reardon is a political reporter with Atlanta News First. For complete rules on today's program, please visit the Atlanta Press Club website, atlantapressclub.org. To start the debate, each candidate will be asked 2 questions by the panel. Candidates have 60 seconds to answer their questions. Doug Reardon, you get the first question to Wayne Johnson.
All right, thank you, Donna. All right, Mr. Johnson, polls have pretty consistently shown that the #1 issue that voters are concerned about is the health of the economy, the health of their own wallets. So let's start by looking ahead to the future here. As a congressman, what policies would you propose or support to help Southwest Georgian families who are struggling financially?
You're dead on. Inflation, gas, groceries, insurance, housing, all the things that you sit and talk around the kitchen table is what is driving people in their thought processes today. As a congressman, you have opportunities to make some changes or make some improvements. One of the things that you can do is to focus on getting affordable housing, because with affordable housing comes the opportunity for more jobs, which comes the opportunity for more higher paying jobs. But at the end of the day, people are going to vote with their pocketbooks this year. And I think it's very clear that Biden and Sanford Bishop economics have not worked, so they're looking towards Trump and Johnson economics.
Thank you very much. Jill Nolin, please ask your question to Chuck Hand.
Hi, Mr. Hand. Congress is currently working on a new farm bill, which will have a big impact on the 2nd District. What are your thoughts on the current House Republican plan? And specifically, would you support the controversial proposal to cut food aid for low-income Americans?
I'm Chuck Hand, lifelong resident of the 2nd District. I've worked side by side with the people of the 2nd District, solving problems since 2018. I've only seen this man next to me come around when it's election time, wanting to run for office. I've been wearing tires slam out in Southwest Georgia, meeting with voters and building relationships in our communities for years now. I'm not interested in debating the issues of the 2nd District with a man who doesn't even reside in it, especially one who orchestrates attacks on my wife. I'm more concerned about beating Sanford Bishop, representing you, and passing the America First agenda and putting Donald Trump back in the White House. This race is very simple. It's either 8th District money or 2nd District heart. The choice is yours. It's the dollar versus the change. Now, this is where I get back in my truck and head back to Southwest Georgia, because I got two races to win.
Thank you very much. Doug Reardon, you're not staying, sir? Are you leaving? Okay. I guess we will continue, and I'll ask Jill. You will get a question again to Wayne Johnson.
What are your thoughts on the farm bill?
Yeah. Wow. I don't even know how to react. Well, first of all, the farm bill. One of the things that's really troubling to me is the discontinuance of fund for SNAP. It's going to impact low-income families significantly. It's also going to impact the farmers that produce the food for SNAP. So the farm bill's got a lot of positives, but at the end of the day, it's not doing enough for the small-time farmer, particularly the black farmer and rancher, and it's also not doing enough to maintain these very important food nutrition programs.
All right. I want to remind our audience that Chuck Hand, who is one of the candidates who we asked here for the debate, has, I guess, in a sense, left the building. He certainly has left this room. So we are going to continue, though. Doug Reardon, your question.
Yeah, thank you, Donna. So, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Hand isn't here, but I do have a quote from him from the last time he was here at the GPP debate. And he said that we've got to do more for all the working class people of Southwest Georgia. And he specifically mentioned teachers. So I want to ask you, what is your plan to support the educators of Southwest Georgia from your post in Congress if you were to win it?
Well, thank you for the question. As you probably know, I was the #3 person at the U.S. Department of Education. And I saw a lot of good that comes from the Department of Education, but I saw a lot of troubles that are created. So the number one thing we got to do is we've got to make sure that funding goes to the state. The state in turn puts it out to the schools and the teachers in the district. We've got to make sure that teachers have more money in their paycheck. Our daughter is a high school teacher in Louisiana. She teaches advanced theater. She also has to supplement her pay by teaching at a local college. I see the stress that that extra workload puts on her. So we got to make sure that the teachers are most important people in our lives, if we think about it, are adequately compensated.
All right. So we are going to continue to ask questions between our panelists. And actually, sir, I may have a question to ask you too as a moderator. Jill Nolin, your question.
Hi, Mr. Johnson. The Alabama Supreme Court ruling that frozen embryos can be considered children imperiled access to IVF treatment in that state until lawmakers came back and passed some laws to protect the clinics. Do you believe Congress should approve a bill to provide nationwide protections for IVF? And if so, how exactly would you want lawmakers to ensure access?
You're referring to in vitro fertilization, correct? That's when you say IVF?
Yes.
Yes. In vitro fertilization, I think, is an incredibly wonderful tool for people that are struggling to have children. Everybody wants children in their lives, and so people that, for some reason or another, do not have the ability, I think it's an important undertaking. I do not believe the federal government should be paying for either abortion, nor should the federal government be paying for in vitro fertilization. I believe that that's a matter of state. I believe that's a matter of personal income. It's not a federal program. Even though we do, as a nation, have a declining birth rate. Our birth rate is one of the lowest of developed nations in the world. We will need to actually add to our population, so I encourage it, but not with federal dollars.
All right. We're going to continue. Doug Reardon.
All right, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Hand pleaded guilty in 2022 to misdemeanor charges connected to the January 6th riots at the U.S. Capitol. Do you think voters will be able to look past that? What are your thoughts on him representing the folks of Georgia knowing that?
Well, I think the voters are going to make their own decision about that, but I think they need to make it on a basis where they're fully informed. Mr. Hand has often said that these were minor misdemeanors, but minor misdemeanors don't put you in jail. They don't give you long-term probation. They certainly do not cause you to lose your Second Amendment rights, and they do not put you on terrorist watch lists. So Mr. Hand's depiction of his and his wife's involvement on January the 6th is far cry from what the official record shows. In fact, Mr. Hand went so far in his pleadings to plead with the judge and admitted that he had done serious wrong by being there in order to get a more lenient sentence. But at the end of the day, the people will decide whether that particular aspect of his life, along with his reported criminal trespass and DUI charges and other charges, are something that they want to tolerate, along with his bankruptcy filings.
Okay, thank you very much. For those just joining us, Mr. Hand was here. He made a statement and then walked off the set, so we are continuing with the program. We will shorten it to 15 minutes instead of the 30-minute program that we were planning to have, and we will continue to question Mr. Johnson. Actually, Mr. Johnson, I have a question for you. You worked in the Trump administration in the Department of Education's Office of Student Finance, yet you want to eliminate all student loans. What do you say to the roughly 30 to 35% of undergrads who seek loans every year and won't be able to afford college without them?
Well, there's other ways to finance college. So yes, I was the #1 person in charge of all federal student aid at the U.S. Department of Education. I got that job after having been awarded my doctorate in higher education finance, and I decided to take that on as part of the Trump administration. So here's what it boils down to. Students they show up at schools, they sign master promissory notes, they really don't know that they're entering into long-term, very unorthodox loan instruments. Actually, it would be predatory lending by any standard of finance. At the end of the day, what we need to do is stop making student loans and do defined amount grants. We shouldn't burden somebody as they're leaving school with loan obligations. We should empower them with the fact that they got an education and they don't have an ongoing financial obligation there too.
All right, thank you very much. Jill?
The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration has proposed loosening the federal prohibition on marijuana. Is that a good or bad thing?
Well, I think medical marijuana has proven to be very, very effective. We regulate all kinds of drugs at the federal level. I think it is time for federal regulation to apply to marijuana. Different people have different opinions, but I think this is something that needs to be hashed out at the federal level. Instead, we have this this basically quilted fabric of marijuana based upon state by state. This is important enough for us to deal with.
All right, thank you very much. Doug Reardon, your question.
All right, Mr. Johnson, an immigration question for you.
Yes.
The murder of Georgia College student Laken Riley put Georgia squarely at the center of the conversation about immigration policies, not just at the federal level, but as Governor Kemp has said many times, every state is a border state, and so at the state level as well. So what would you do from your post in Congress to address the crisis at the border, but also illegal immigration here in Georgia?
Well, first of all, let me state that I think legal immigration is a powerful force that we need to harness. Illegal immigration is out of control. Asylum is out of control. The particular individual that did that killed the lady was here on asylum. He was from Venezuela, and the minute he touched soil, he got basically a 7-year free ride. We have got to basically get control of this freewheeling asylum policy. Biden has recently started making motions in that direction, but at the end of the day, we've got to slam the border shut. We've got to basically, eliminate this freewheeling asylum.
All right, thank you. One quick question from you, Jill.
Okay, if elected, would you join the Freedom Caucus? Why or why not?
I haven't even thought about it. So the answer is I need to be a member of Congress to be able to fully understand and make that decision.
All right, thank you very much. That is all the time we have for questions. The candidate will now have 60 seconds for a closing statement. Wayne Johnson, your statement.
Well, I don't know whether to take Chuck Hand's departure from the stage as his withdrawal from the race or not, but I certainly would think it might be in that direction. So here's what it boils down to, folks. I could talk about inflation, I can talk about energy policy, I can talk about border control, I can talk about the importance of us standing with Israel. They're fighting international terrorism. It is our fight. We need to be in the middle of it. I can talk about how proud I am to have been served in the United States Army. I'm proud to have served in the Trump administration as a senior official. I have a heart for public service. I have a demonstrated willingness and commitment to public service. I'd like to say that the Trump policies worked. They will work again. They will particularly work again if I'm a member of the Congress to support. I know that they work because I was there. So I'm Wayne Johnson, candidate for the United States Congress. I want to represent all of the people of Middle and Southwest Georgia. I'm the right man at the right time with the right experience to defeat long-term Congressman Sanford Bishop. This runoff election is very, very important. Please go the extra mile and get out and vote on June the 18th, and also start voting tomorrow, June the 10th through the 14th. And I close by saying that I humbly and respectfully ask you to trust me with your vote. Thank you. Wayne Johnson.
Thank you very much. For those just joining us, we did have the other candidate, Chuck Hand, here. And this is the Republican runoff debate for Congressional District 2. He made a statement and then walked off the set. So we have continued the program, but we are shortening it just a bit. I want to thank everybody involved, because at this point that concludes our program. We want to remind voters also that Election Day is June 18th. So please go to the My Voter page on the Georgia Secretary of State's website to learn about early voting in your area. I want to thank our candidates and to our panel of journalists, Doug Reardon and Jill Nolin, for being here. We'd also like to thank the Atlanta Press Club and Georgia Public Broadcasting for arranging today's program. Now, for more information about the Atlanta Press Club debates, visit atlantapressclub.org. I'm Donna Lowry. Thanks for joining us for the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk Young Debate Series.